multi-step equations. When we do multi-step equations, we need to follow PEDMAS to get our numbers on one side and our letters on another side. So the P is your brackets, the E is the exponents, D and M are division and multiply, and A and S is add and subtract. And don't forget that you can interchange division and multiply and addition and subtraction based on the order that they come in. A very important rule, you're going to want to put your numbers on one side and your letters on the other. Letters are like your variables. So if you have an N, all the N's need to be on one side of the equal sign. Then you can solve for X or whatever your variable is. So let's try one. We have 163 equals negative 8x plus 27. So my first step is to get my letters on one side and my numbers on the other side. So I'm going to move that 27 over. When I move it over, it's going to become a negative. So I have negative 27 plus 163 equals negative 8x. So now I have 136 equals negative 8x. Well, what do we do to get that x by itself? We're going to go ahead and divide by 8, negative 8. Both sides divide by negative 8. What's going to happen is you're going to end up with a negative answer of negative 17. Next one. 2 plus x over 10 equals 4. Now don't get scared, it's not a fraction, it's a division question. So our first step is to move that 2 to the other side. When he moves to the other side, it becomes a negative. So we have x over 10 equals 4 minus 2. Oh. So then I'm going to go ahead and I have x over 10 equals negative 6, which means that I'm going to times by 10 to get the x by itself and times by 10 to get the x by on the other side. Those 10's cross out. X is going to be equal to negative 60. Next up, a plus 5 equals negative 5a plus 5. Now what needs to happen is, because we have two variables here, we're going to have to move all the letters on one side and all the numbers on the other. We don't like negative variables because it adds an extra step. So if we have an opportunity to move it across, we move it across to make it positive. So that negative 5a is going to move across. It's going to become a positive 5a. Positive 5 is going to come over and become a negative 5. So a plus 5a equals 5 minus 5. Combine the a's, we get 6a equals 0. Anything divided by, or 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. Next up, 5p minus 14 equals 8p plus 4. So we're going to follow the same idea here. We can move our p's to the left or move our p's to the right. It doesn't matter. We're going to move them to the left this time, so 8p is going to come over and become negative 8p, and that negative 14 is going to come over. So 5p minus 8p equals 4 plus 14. So negative 3p equals 18. Divide by 3, divide by negative 3. Negative 3's are going to cross each other out. Going to end up with p equals negative 6. Last question. This one's a doozy because we need to work our way through parentheses as well. So we have 18 minus 6k equals 6 times 1 plus 3k. So I'm just going to rewrite the stuff that I don't need to do anything with right now. So I'm going to rewrite negative 18 minus 6k. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work that 6 through the brackets. So 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 times 3k is 18k. Now I'm back to square one that we did before. So we're going to have to get our letters on one side and our numbers on the other. Let's move the 6 over to the left, and we're going to move that negative k to the right. Does it matter which way you move them? Totally doesn't matter which way you move them, as long as you have letters on one side, numbers on the other, and your positives switch to negatives and your negatives switch to positives. So now we're going to rewrite this whole mess. Negative 18 minus 6 equals 18k plus 6k. One thing I want to point out is, once again, my equal signs are pretty close to lined up. It keeps it organized, because when you have all of these steps involved, it's easy to get confused if it's all written in one straight line. Okay, so we want to be writing these underneath for sure. Negative 24 equals 24k. Well, how can we get k by itself? Divide by 24. Whatever we do to one side, we need to do to the other side. And we're going to end up with negative 1 equals k.